Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Driven in Alchemy. My name is Starr. Today I'm going to enter into the space with a lavender incense, and I'm also going to use a little bit of sound. Just be careful those that might be wearing headphones. I felt like I got lost in the sound there, and I feel like some of you might be feeling quite lost at this moment in time. And I brought in the two black feathers again, so we're just going to ask that all cords we cut that are here that don't need to be connecting to you anymore. Anything that is of a negative vibration isn't helpful. Just be removed from your energy. And I feel like cord cutting needs to be a regular practice for some, especially those that are working with others and specifically other practitioners. So please just be mindful with that. If you're working with others in close proximity, always make sure to be cleansing your energy and reprioritizing, I heard as well. So I'm going to pull straight oracle today. I'm excited to see what wants to step forward, as we do have the super duper duper full moon today or tomorrow, depending on where you are in Sagittarius. So yeah, I'm curious as to what's going to step forward for the collective. So we've got Apocolypsis. The apocalypse, interesting. Ooh, the desert, and it did come in reverse, so I'm going to keep it as such. And I felt like this was almost like 3 picker cards in the fault line. That's so interesting. And I had a feeling that perhaps perceived negative energy might be brought into the space today. And I'm hearing that I'm sharing this reading so that we don't end up in apocalypsis. And I can't remember exactly what that card means. So I'm going to grab the guidebook just to be sure, because I don't want to speak not right phrasing with regards to that, because it's the archetypes deck. So Apocolypsis, removing the veil of deception. This card has a strong relationship with Athelia. In both cards appearing in one reading, you've got some real uncovering to do. Take heed. Interesting. So I'm going to put this here so you can see it. I hope that you can. All kinds of things will be revealed during a time of apocalypsis, from big global lies to little white lies that lace the bedroom seat. Oof. Brace yourself for the horse of truth to storm your every field. Interesting. The unknown becomes the known and guides the way. When in dark, nihilism, fatalism, hopelessness. Go deeper. Michael Mead's Why the World Doesn't End, the movie. This is the end. Interesting. Removing the veil of deception. Apocalypsis indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two desperate dynamics occur. Disparate. I said desperate. When two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously. So yeah, there's like this like desperate energy, and maybe some of you feel like you're drowning right now, which is where that like grasping at energy is coming from. But I'm going to pause there and we'll come back to that. But it felt very strongly. It was almost like seeing someone drowning. So we'll come back to that. Disparate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is a lifting of the veil. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how revealing it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealing of the truth. The old narratives break and a new story forms. Apocalypsis energy is similar to that of the forest fires, devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding from the nakedness of the truth. A child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. Wow. And I was going to say that I felt like these are 3 piles, but actually I feel like this is a continuation story. So perhaps some of you are in this apocalypsis right now. Some of you feel like you're in the aftermath of this apocalypsis, and some of you, it's like you're in the decision mode right now of where to steady your faith and the hands of fate. For some of you, maybe you feel like you're in the hands of fate right now, which is interesting, and I want to say just very precarious. So everyone that is watching, take heed, take warning, take call, and don't be afraid. But also, yeah, I think you're going to have to listen. You're going to have to listen. But the desert in reverse is an encouraging sign, because, yeah, that felt very heavy. The desert's in reverse. And it's interesting because I pulled that card a very long time ago, and I was remembering the being that I pulled that card for. So if you're watching, yeah, please do reach out if you feel called. But I'm going to pull from the Rose Oracle, hopefully to bring some nourishment from this apocalypsis. Codes of the seeds, the blueprint is within you, take the next steps. And I feel like this is where some of you have been, and you know, you've been in a space of really taking stock of where your life has been up until this point, and you know, allowing for yourself to be birthed anew. Perhaps you feel like the caterpillar, you know, that has gone into the chrysalis, and this expression of, I'm hearing, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? Which, you know, I think only we can answer for self. And I hope that you found these messages encouraging, but only you can really get to the depths of you. This is merely a snapshot of energy to help you understand where you are and where you're being called to next. So have faith in that too, that you will always be your own shining light. 6:06 on the clock there. The mystic rose, compassion, devotion, humility, humanity, and grace. And I think for some of you, you've truly been brought to a space of humility. And, you know, this is not because you weren't humble, but I think that there was something about your soul that really wanted to be taken to the edge and to nothing. It's like you wanted to be coming from the purest, heart-centered space possible, which is why you found yourself perhaps in situations of late or in the most recent years that really had to bring you back to that. The anointed, answer the call, leadership, empowerment, and soul gifts. And I think it's because some of you want to be quote unquote leaders here. And I think you have trouble with that phrasing. I think it holds a negative connotation in the mind for some. So, you know, insert whatever word that you want to be there, guide, coach, whatever. But it feels like that you are in a position and you're ready to help others access deeper parts of themselves. And this is what you came here to do. Whispers of Mother Earth, creativity, ideas, inspiration, artist, writer, and channel. And for some of you, this is what you have been running away from. And my throat chakra actually just like clicked. And I felt like I couldn't speak. So for some of you, your voice has been silent for so long. You're going to have to take a little bit of time to bring yourself back into the process of you. So trust in who you are. Trust in why you came here. For some of you, you've forgotten why you came here. The Rose Garden, innocence, forgiveness, be gentle with yourself. And it's okay if you're in the space of having to remember. 7:33 on the clock there. I'm hearing 777. For some, yes, you feel like you've gone back to the nothing again. You think, how have I gotten here? Because I've come so far. And it's okay. I want to say that we're always in cycles. We're always in journeys. And we have to just be open to what is here now. And for some of you, you really let go of some very dense cycles for you. So now you are in a space of coming forward again. And that's okay. You're allowed to be at the beginning again. For some of you, you're terrified that you're at the beginning of something, because that is a matter of perspective, because you've learned so much already. And I'm hearing the fault doesn't lie with you. For some of you, there is like this strong notion of everything's all my fault. And you have to get out of that energy because it's only hindering you. What can you do in this present time? And I'm hearing just giving to yourself, nourishment above all else, is going to be the key element for so many here. Yeah, where do you need to bury yourself? For some of you, you've buried yourself, which is an interesting notion. And I think that you can take from that what you will. And, you know, perhaps you are on the receiving end of a karmic cycle. And you know, I feel like it's okay to say, okay, yeah, I see where my actions and my behaviors led me to this space. And now, you know, you get to do what you know with that information and move forward. And I think that's where growth truly happens. I know that that's where growth truly happens. But I think some of you might be overthinking right now, and everything is all just lesson. And that's okay. For some of you, you really have to have more compassion with self, because you're being far too hard on self. And this idea of forgiveness, for some, yeah, it's like you really want someone to forgive you. And I'm hearing they already forgive you, whoever that is for. It keeps coming through time and time and time again. And maybe this is like, you know, you feel like someone here, it feels like God doesn't love them. And that is just never not true. That is never true, sorry. Yeah, it feels like there's a slip of the mind here where you just keep telling yourself, like, you're not good, you're evil, you're something. And it's simply not the case. The sacred union, beloved within inner and outer relationships. And for some of you, Yeah, it's like this inner relationship with self really needs to be looked at, because everyone is worthy and holy exactly as they are. And that is exactly how we should all be considering ourselves and others, you know? And it's okay if you feel like you've gotten out of alignment somewhere, but I keep hearing the pearly gates are always open. And, you know, I don't necessarily think in that such strict doctrine, but for some reason that's coming through. So for someone out there, the gates of heaven are open for you. All you have to do is just walk through them. You know, that proverbial gate, all you have to say is like, yeah, I'm ready to be received. And perhaps you are in this testing time, you know, perhaps you are being tested by spirit, or you feel like you are, to make sure that your heart is in alignment. And that's okay. But you don't have to prove yourself. You just have to be you. Yeah, Sophia, divine plan, wisdom, intelligence within, and destiny. And it was your destiny to pull yourself out of the shadows. Okay, perhaps this is shadow work for some. You know, perhaps you're looking at spaces where you feel like you're still not in alignment, and that's okay. Oh wow, the rapture. Sensuality, love, devotion, romance, ecstasy, and pleasure. And for some, you're mistaking good and right with pleasure and desire. And you feel like to have pleasure and desire is to not be holy, which simply isn't the case. And I'm going to share something a little bit personal here, but I was very surprised when I started to tap into everything spiritually that my sacral chakra was awakened, and that really helped me to understand and to pull myself out of some of my, you know, strict doctrine and schooling somewhere, to be like, no, pleasure and desire are a part of this, and in fact they're the highest forms of vibration and light also. So be aware of that for some. And of course it has to be, you know, the ways in which we are channeling that energy, but don't put yourself in this box of you can't be sensual. I don't know why that's coming through. It's just really interesting. To be holy, you can't be sensual, and that's not true. And I feel like I want to lower the tone. Yeah, I want to lower the tone in many forms, but I want to lower my intake of that expression, because actually I think it might be quite tender for some. This idea of to be holy is to not have pleasure, because you might have been coming from a very traumatic space in that understanding, in which case, you know, take your time with this, but know that even if you have been in some of the most treacherous places where you feel like your innocence or your inner sanctity of holiness has been imprinted upon in any way. I'm trying to find the right words to be able to share this on YouTube, but I think we all understand what I'm saying. You know, that wasn't your fault. That's never been your fault, even if you feel like you chose it somewhere. You know, abuse is never anyone's fault, is what I want to say. Healing heart, emotions, connections, and time eases. So yeah, time does heal all wounds, but you get to decide that time. And I feel like we're getting pretty personal here. So if you would like to work with me one-to-one in releasing, you know, this past pain, this past trauma, and to help you bring you into a space of being able to receive ecstasy and pleasure again, then, you know, do reach out to me. But there is this understanding, stepping forward of, I'm not worthy, but everyone is inherently worthy, no matter what you've been through, no matter where you've been. Yeah, Sabrosa, the hidden in plain sight mysteries, learning and teaching. And for some of you, this is where you are right now. You've gone right deep into the depths so that you can step forward with more knowledge. And I felt very cool to bring in this Moss Agate skull, which was a very dear soul to me at a certain point in my journey, and I would speak to them daily. And I think that some are coming back to the practices of old, coming back to the practices of your lineage, so that you can set yourself free. The second bloom, a second chance, it's never too late, new possibilities. And for some, you are waiting on new possibilities, so don't get distracted. And for some of you, yes, don't get distracted by the perceived necessities of the flesh. If you know that you are waiting for the right being to step towards you, don't get distracted, because I'm hearing that will just open up another cycle that you don't need to be in. So trust in the energy. I know that that's a very specific message, but I'm going to move into the nature oracle. What's this called? Messages from the nature, spirits of nature oracle. Messages from the spirits of nature. So that's very significant for some. Okay, I've got a few cards stepping out. So So the first that we've got is Saria Tree and Balance. And I feel like I'm going to put this in the community tab. And these are very mystical and magical trees, and they are incredibly ancient and have seen more life than probably all of us here, at least in this lifetime. And I think that this is allowing for some to come back to their ancient wisdom. And you've been feeling like there is this energy deep within you that is unearthing, and perhaps for some it might feel quite scary, which is where this, you know, understanding of pleasure, desire, holiness, unholiness might be stepping forward, because you feel like this carnal energy of I want to say deep rapture and pleasure stepping forward, and you think, where is this coming from? But I want to say that it is coming from a holy space, and trust and use your discernment, but don't have any, if you have fear around something, that's not your discernment leading. You know, that's your fear and perhaps a projection of something of the past stepping forward, because when you have discernment, you feel very calm in your expression, you feel very calm and collected. Same with intuition, your intuition is calm. You know, sometimes things are alarming to us in terms of like the messages very much there and waving at us, you know, the alarms are going off, but that knowing is just so strong. It's like, okay, this is my alarm call and I'm going to act accordingly. It's not this frantic like, is it, isn't it, isn't it, isn't it? That's the fear stepping forward, and I hope that that helps some with the differentiation. We've got 12 and dolphin and listening, and there's been a lot of messages about dolphins this week, and I watched a video about being illegal to be birthing with dolphins anymore, which I found very, very interesting. And I think it was the Florida man with the dolphin, and I wish it just wasn't in Florida, because I feel like that discredited the story, but I totally believe this guy that said that he got took to the ocean to build structures for dolphins. And I don't mean to laugh, but I just wasn't surprised in the slightest, and I'm grateful that this is where we are in the world. Air and Roach. So trust in your voice, trust in your knowing, trust in your truth, and trust in your life. And I've seen this card so many times, and I've never actually seen this face hidden in that. And I think this is perhaps where some are right now. You're starting to see things in a very different way, and it's all blue, which is interesting. 135 and 12, so there might be significant numbers for you. 112, 315, 215, 312. So yeah, other earths. Some of you are stepping into a space of understanding different different portal spaces, different dimensions, different realities. And it's interesting that I brought the apple tree in abundance here with the number 2. So it's making me think of the Garden of Eden. And I was listening to Sleep Token last night, and the understanding the ascension of Eden kept coming forward. So there's that. So make sure that you are protecting yourself if you're in these spaces of exploring more, because you can get yourself into treacherous spaces, and I've definitely been there without knowing. So if you would like to reach out to me to work together in these spaces, I'm more than open to that. Oh, beautiful, honeybee community. And I did a reading just before this, and I kept seeing this card, and I forgot which deck it was in, so I'm grateful to find it again. But the ideas of bees in community keeps coming up over and 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 over again. So please listen to it. 1818 on the clock there, so 17, 18, 18 is a continuation. Community is key right now, having like-minded souls around you, and if there isn't community, create it. I'm hearing you are the honeybee. Oh, tobacco and reciprocity, 39. So you might want to be giving offerings to your ancestors, to the land, to the ground, to yourself. Tobacco is a very sacred herb to be working with, so use it wisely, whoever is here. But there is something about temptation, Eden, tobacco that feels in alignment, but also an air of mystique around that vibration. But I'm being told that I'm going to share a little bit of light language, and I'm going to bring in the energy of the mushrooms, and if it was stand upright, the mushrooms and the dragons. And that felt very significant. Mushrooms and dragons for some is the key. 1907-08 on the clock there. But I'm just going to tune into my Mycelium vibration and also that of the dragons and see what wants to step forward. Ikia toro to kushime ela taya. Tila ila na to kole kata ikia na aya keke. Tila ulo shukuno kia ta kulo kole anaya. Tila ala kaya keke ina ala kaya shishine kia to. Toro undo kulo koya mara. Tila ila na ikia ala kukole ina ara kaya. Tele shishina uri kia ta ukura da taya kikia na ala yeke. tiana motore, tire shikiana ole kiata akala kaye kiere, tikiato uro no kuku pia tara la kiere itiamaya. Shina ole kiata kumo toto kiata tekiera tole kiata ala tiata kule tiamaya tata. Tikia uno ure shishi simaturu tikiana alaya. Tele ienana nuri tiga tuturu nunu pira tuku ishana. Tele ia ta toro no kieta ala te ieniena no nuri tiamatuiata tiamaturieta ya. And I did just a quick clearing of the chakra placements there for those that wanted to receive that. So just say I receive to add that permission aspect in there. Because I didn't know that that was what I was going to be doing. But I felt like I felt very tired. I felt very drained. And for some of you, your ancestors were saying like you're on your last leg, so just give up, just relax, just surrender. For some of you, it's like you're really trying to keep a momentum going that just isn't sustainable. And also you're just not trusting the process. You have to have the deepest of faith right now for some. And I think this is why you feel perhaps in the desert, but it's like no, the desert is reversed. So speak to your ancestors. So some of you, you're missing that connection, because yeah, if you, and this card kept coming out, abate the pace before it's too late. So don't rush forward into anything right now. I'm hearing seek commune with your ancestors and ask for their guidance on where you are right now. For some of you, you've just been terrified of the answers, so you haven't even paused to ask. Red sky at night, shepherds are like red sky in the morning, shepherds warning. So here is your warning. Speak to your ancestors before you proceed. And you know, if you would like help connecting to your ancestors, please do not hesitate to reach out. But I'm being drawn to mint. I'm being drawn to pink flowers. I was seeing white peonies before I sat down, white roses, so that might be a signifier for some. That's just your confirmation. And I am going to close down now, so I'm going to pull some cards from the Forest Fairy Oracle. And we've got away we fly, take the clouds, delight in your imagination. For some of you, your imagination is your key to your freedom. So trust in that. Make sure that your mind is a clear space right now with the sage, but trust in your imagination. The soothsayer, travel the road seldom taken, travel the road seldom taken, travel the road seldom taken. I always love this little person with their little feet here, with the blue boots, which is incredibly cute. And the final card that I pulled is going to be the Numina. Seek inspiration, Twilight Wanderings. Seek inspiration, Twilight Wanderings. Seek inspiration, Twilight Wanderings. And I'm not ashamed to say that I did rewatch all of the Twilight movies recently. I have no shame in that whatsoever. But there is something in the Twilight Hours and the Twilight Zone. Was that show from back in the day, the Twilight Zone? So you might want to delve a little bit deeper into that. But that time of when it's just coming into night and it's all still, you can hack into that energy. And I think that's specific for this super duper blue moon that we have coming up. Sink into that twilight zone for those that have been seeking. The blue boots, I'm stepping, my blue suede shoes are stepping forward. I knew there was something in blue suede. I kept seeing suede yesterday in my mind's eye. Natural fibers, sage, honeycomb. For some of you, listen to what your body needs right now and feed it. I feel like some, like, what is the energy that's coming over me? Like, the presence is so strong of ancestors, of high vibrations, of multidimensional beings. It's like it is very here and present for you. So remain focused, remain with your heart open, remain in alignment. And I'm being drawn to a third eye meditation that I really love. So if that applies to you and you feel like you want to receive that meditation, it is 13 minutes long. So that energy of the 13 there with the divine feminine energy, please do email me and I will send it over to you, because there's something in that connection and asking for that is going to be an awakening in the third eye. But I feel like calling it here today, but I feel like there is perhaps some questions that can be answered for some. So if you do feel called to an extended reading, please do not hesitate to reach out. It's exactly why I'm here. But this idea of tobacco, your ancestors, the dragons, and mushroom energy. And I do have a dragon channel which is called Dragon Hotlight, which is in the description. But there's something, and I want to just pull through a message. Yeah, sit with your eyes closed. I feel like covering the eye sockets of this skull here. Perhaps you're doing very weird things right now, some of you, but this is your body getting into alignment with the N and L I'm hearing as initials. It's like your pineal gland is being decalcified for some, and I can't remember the placement, the chakra that is just behind the ears. If I remember, I'll tag it in the description, but there's something to that. For some of you getting downloads into your teeth, yeah, the ascension symptoms, so you might want to grab some hematoid quartz. But the skull is saying, be like the hangman, be open and ready to receive. And I kept sharing this understanding of tipping upside down, allowing all the blood to rush to your head in order to receive, but also release information. I'm seeing this as like a figure dancing here, almost like a samurai too. Green samurai I'm hearing. That's a significant message for some, or a lifetime as a samurai. Yeah, that's something to tap into, past lives as well. So if you would like a past life regression with me, do not hesitate to reach out. Something in maps and ships, being a pirate, Pirates of the Caribbean I'm hearing, so maybe you want to get back into more fantasy. I'm seeing E.T., I'm seeing, oh, what's that, Ice Age? Yeah, Ice Age is the movie too, which I haven't seen in a very long time, but there's something in animation. The Missing Link too, that's also something. Being drawn to the bat that I created, Tenebras. Molding, yeah, some of you, you're molding who you want to be this lifetime. Some of you are remolding your avatar here, which is your physical form. So trust in that energy, and you know, we get expansive here. Only take what resonates, only take what you feel is comfortable to you, and leave the rest. But I'm sending you all off in the highest vibration, the highest love, the highest light, and I love you all is what I want to share. And please know that I'm sending you a massive, massive, massive hug. Enjoy this super duper duper extra potent moon in Sagittarius, once in a blue moon. Make a wish, everyone. But bye for now. Take care.